All right, good morning. God bless. Want to go over some political stuff this morning, a little different than what I did yesterday. And I want to cover the difference on what is happening now between the Democrats and the Republicans, and what is the baseline? What is the differences in the parties? What is their stance? Do you know? Um, Do you care? So, the title of it today is Clash Over the Future Insights from the 2025 Shutdown and the Democratic Vision. What are they fighting for? What do they want? And how are they planning to get there? All right, let me make sure all this is on. All right, live, and recording here. All right. So, today's discussion outline the 2025 shutdown, origins, and the immediate consequences. Um, Democratic policy priorities amid the shutdown, contrasting Republican and Democratic visions for government, implementations for everyday implications, excuse me, implications for everyday Americans. Um, as they go through it, we go through it. Um, they get paid, we don't get paid. Um, so they don't really have any skin in the game due to the fact that they're getting paid, they're not suffering. So we have to put the heat on them to make sure they understand um, that if we are in pain, we're gonna transfer that pain to them. But how do we do that? We got to have knowledge. Knowledge is power. The SPARK, Congressional Funding Gap and Policy Riders. All right. What are they trying to do with what they're trying to do it with? The disagreement, funding gap causes the disagreement over policy riders attached to appropriation bills cause the government funding gap leading to a shutdown. All right. So somewhat, some Democrats want something in that the Republicans have taken out. Republicans have the presidency, they have the House, they have the Senate, they have the courts. 6-3 right now. So the Democrats say we're gonna fight, fight, fight. Um, so the government shuts down. How long will it shut down? How long will it be? Um, how long can they hold on? Either side. All right. Impact of policy riders. Policy riders became obstacles preventing timely budget approval and triggered the shutdown. The Democrats say we want this and we want it now. And Republicans say we're not giving in. So who's going to win and who's going to lose? Or is this a um, lose-lose situation? Is this a win-lose situation? What's going on? What's really going on? All right. Republicans, Democratic positions on appropriations. Republican spending priorities. Republicans emphasize spending cuts and tighter policy restrictions to reduce government expenditures. Let me know in the comments. Are you for it? Are you against that? Do you like big government? Do you like small government? Do you like the nanny state? Do you want the government to cover you from birth to the grave? What do you want out of your government? Um, are you populist? Are you progressive? Are you conservative? Um, what is your stance? Should government pay for everything? Do you know what government pays for? The theory is that government should do the essentials: fire, police, things that we can't do, that we have to come together as a community, and we need expertise in doing it. Not everybody can fight a fire. Not everybody can go and rescue a hostage. So we hire these professionals, and we put our representatives in power, and we want to have a say. And right now they're having a say. Are you happy with it? Is this what you voted for? Is this what you voted against? Let me know. Democrat funding priorities. Democrats focus on protecting social programs and maintaining sustained government funding for public services. Now, going back to the spending, the USAID, were you for those programs? Did those programs help you? Did you know what they were spending on? Do you care? Let me know in the comments. What type of government do you want? Are you for socialism? Are you a Marxist? Are you a Christian? Are you a Christian nationalist? Are they throwing that around now? What is it that you are aiming for? So on the one hand, big government. On the other hand, reducing the government. Which side are you on? Let me know. Resulting political impasse. The contrasting priorities of the two parties have led to a legislative impasse on appropriations. Are you happy with it? Are you upset? Do you want the Democrats to continue to fight and shut down the government? Don't matter what, burn it all down. Burn the village. What do you want? Impact on federal workers and government operations. Employee furloughs. People are leaving. People are not getting paid. Okay? Say a little hi to someone. Hi there. So, what are we doing? How long can this last? The first Trump administration, the main cause of shutting down, I would say, he wanted to fund the wall. He didn't get it, but he was able to, they worked it out, talked it out. Within his administration, they moved funding. They moved it around. All right, this go around, they had what they call is a clean resolution bill that would just fund, at a minimum, the government functions while they fight over the details. Are you happy with that? What do you think they should do? Remembering the $37.8 trillion that we already have. What programs that we need to cut? What do we need to do as a people to get this country in a fiscal responsible manner? What are we able to do? What are you willing to do? What pain are you willing to endure as a people? None at all? Anything? Let me know in the comments. All right. Disrupted. All right, going back to employees furloughed. Many federal employees were furloughed during the shutdown, leading to loss of income and job uncertainty. I don't know if you know or not, federal employees, as far as my understanding, cannot go out and get a second job while they furloughed. They're not getting paid and they cannot get extra work, additional work. Come on, that's heard that from Jasmine Crockett the other day. I haven't had a chance to run that down, but that is something to consider. You're running out of money, they won't let you go and get a second job. Disrupted government services. Government services across multiple agencies was disrupted, impacting public access to resources and support. How long can you hold on? Or what is your threshold of pain that you're willing to endure before you start calling your congressman, your senator, the president, or whoever? How much pain are you willing to endure? What is it? All right, operational challenges. Shutdown. The shutdown created operational challenges within agencies, causing delays and reduced efficiency in government and functions. All right, going back to USAID. There are tons of money going overseas. We are $37.8 trillion. Are you ready and willing to feed the world while we starve? The problem I see is many in government love to give because they don't have to be accountable for it. But what are you willing to give, and what are you willing to stop? How are you able to balance, or should be able to balance your budget at home, and the government, you let them ride? Can we and should we force the government to get a balanced budget? Bring that $37.8 trillion down over the next 10, 20, 30 years. Get a law in there that for every dollar that goes up, they got to come down to something. They have to give up something. Are we adults enough in America to balance our books? You cannot go on printing money forever. What are you looking for, America? Who are you looking to get this house in order? All right, Democratic policy priorities amid the shutdown. Protecting health care subsidies and Medicaid. All right. Affordable Care Act subsidies. Subsidies under the Affordable Care Act help lower healthcare costs for eligible individuals and families. All right. Sounds good. But if we go bankrupt, we can't help anybody. So someone has to be an adult. Yes, we need to look at Medicaid and Medicare in a right way, but who's getting paid? Able-bodied people need to work and not be coddled. We got to look into that. But right now, what are your thoughts? What are your feelings on this? Medicaid funding protection. Medicaid funding ensures access to essential healthcare services for low and middle income Americans. One of the fights, whether you like it or not, is about illegal immigrants, illegal aliens, whatever you want to call it, costing millions of dollars by going to emergency rooms and burden the system, which the state goes and pays and then wants to be reimbursed by the federal government. So there's a loophole where they tell you it's illegal with the federal government to pay for medical treatment for illegal immigrants. True. However, the states do it and then seek reimbursement. What is your policy? What would you like to see? What do you want to stop? How do you want to stop it? Ensuring healthcare access. Efforts focus on maintaining healthcare affordability and accessibility for vulnerable populations. So they throw words out like that. Vulnerable populations. To me, it's a cover. All right. Who are the vulnerable? What are we talking about? And can we afford it? Empowering Medicare on drug price negotiation. All right. So, one thing I like about Trump, he crosses the line between Republican and centrist and Democrat. He got them all jumping through hoops. On the one hand, the Republicans, small government, but that can lead to do nothing policies. And that's what the Republicans are good for. They get into that do nothing policy mentality. Trump, on the other hand, he'll cross over. He'll do something that the Democrats like, even though they will not give him the credit because it's Trump derangement syndrome. Then he'll cross back over and do something that the middle ground, the centrists like, and then he'll do something Republicans like. They can't hold him down. He's not allowing the party itself to hold him. He made a party within the party. All right, so the thing that's up for grabs now is empowering Medicare to negotiate drug prices aims to lower medication costs for seniors and the healthcare system. Our drug companies make money and get money from our tax dollars, create these drugs, sell it to us at a higher rate, higher price, ship that same drug, same potency overseas at a discount. You good with that? You think it's wrong? What are you willing to do? Trump is willing to jump in there with the government, which the Republicans don't like. The Democrats don't see that. He works both lanes, all three lanes. He moves left, right, middle, and he gets the job done. Whether Democrat or Republican are holding to their party line to the point that they strangle themselves. Cost reduction benefits. Negotiation of drug prices help reduce financial burden on seniors and improve healthcare affordability overall. So that's something to consider. Again, Trump, MAGA, is not the pure establishment type of Republican Party. He is a former Democrat with great ideas, a businessman getting things done, where a politician rely on the system, even Democrat or Republican, that hurts them. And they don't see it. So we needed someone outside the box. We needed someone that went beyond the Republican strong stranglehold on themselves and the loosey-goosey mentality of the Democrats. And Trump has done it. All right, nutrition assistance. Programs aim to provide food support for families facing economic challenges and food insecurity. All right, sounds good. A lot of gobbledygook. Who we want to know who is that? You know, there's many people facing economic challenges and food insecurity, but are they Americans? Are they? Where is our money going? And the USAID. I don't care if you hate Elon Musk. He did a great job, and this possibly this shutdown will get the results that he tried for that was too politically harmful to the party and the ideas. So Trump is laying off thousands. It could be up to 300,000 if this go any longer. So the Democrats again are playing into Trump's affordable and accessible child care to help families balance work and caregiving. Sounds great until you got to pay for it. Again, $37.8 trillion in debt. How far are you willing to go? Some economists say at $50 trillion, it all crashes down. We're at 37.8. Are you willing to take that gamble? Or are you ready to say, hey, put this house in order? How painful are you ready to go? Housing aid. Efforts to provide affordable housing and prevent homelessness for vulnerable families during economic uncertainty. The Democratic Party, unfortunately, believes that throwing money at the problem is like magic. I think it's been 20 years since Gavin Newsom pledged to do something about the homeless. He did. It doubled. Gavin Newsom spent about, I believe it's about $7 billion. We got more homeless than when he came in. They have trashed the state, and it's Gavin's fault, and it's the mayors. They are Marxist socialist loons, in my opinion. All right, contrasting Republican and Democratic vision for government. Republican approach. Republicans favor limited government involvement and reduce social spending to encourage individual responsibility. I have no problem with that. But again, without Trump, the Republican Party is pretty much a do-nothing party. Less under Bush. First, it was the Democrats was a war party. Then Bush 1 and 2 got in there and made it the war party. They are globalists, were globalists, and they cared more for creating this one world government than they did taking care of America. Trump is an American who cares about America. Democratic approach. Democrats support expanded social programs aimed at reducing inequality and aiding vulnerable populations. Again, they throw phrases without meaning. Okay, yes, there are vulnerable populations, and they want to reduce inequalities. To what end? The people who say that have private jets. They fly first class on your dime. They got $1 million houses. So their best virtue is virtue signaling, other than coming up with real concrete answers. And we're getting nowhere. So what I'm saying is we got to get somewhere, and we need the American people to say, hey, I am willing and able to take the plunge. But it has to come up from the ground up. We got to be willing enough to take the pain. If we're not able to take the pain, that $50 trillion on trickle on up. At 37 on trickle on up to 50 trillion. And then we'll be bought and sold. Okay, competing fiscal strategies for managing national debt. Republican fiscal approach. Republicans prioritize spending cuts as a primary strategy to reduce the national debt and control government expenditure. We got to control the national debt. We got to come up with a reasonable program that takes care of the poor and also makes there's no freedom without responsibility. America's for so many Americans have been living too long with they think they can be taken care of but yet keep their freedoms. Once someone takes care of you like a child, a minor, they own you, they control you, and they control what you say. That is what the Democratic Party wants to be. They want to be your nanny. They want to control what you say. COVID-19 was a prime example of them controlling what is said. They went after you on every front, on every avenue. If you said something, they deplatform you, they shadow ban you. You lost your job if you didn't take the jab. So that is top down. That's the Democrats. Republicans, a lot of them are just rhinos. You know, they more purple than red. So we have to be cautious of that. Democrats advocate for combining a combination of targeted investment and revenue measures to balance fiscal responsibility with social programs. They love the social programs, but we have to be careful. That's just the bottom line. We have to be careful. We are running out of money and we're running out of time. Smaller government philosophy. Republicans support limited government with emphasis on individual responsibility and reduced government involvement. I agree, but they also embed with the corporations to the point where they got to be regulated to some extent. I do like deregulation, don't get me wrong, but when they can buy their own stocks, run the company down, and the consumer loses out, then we got to do something. Democrats advocate for active government roles to promote equality, social security, and welfare. Equality, all right? That means they're going to take from you and give to somebody else who 9 times out of 10 is less worthy. They didn't work for it. They didn't earn it. They want a handout. They want a reparation for this, that, and the other. It's not right, and it will destroy this nation. We don't have the money. Implementation, I can't even say it. Implementation, well, for everyday Americans. What it implies. It's early in the morning, I work late at night. All right. Furloughed workers increase financial strain on families, leading to difficulties in meeting daily expenses and bills. We know that. Interruptions of government services worsens economic uncertainty, limiting access to essential support for communities. All right, basic. Economic uncertainties affected entire communities, increasing leadership and instability in local areas. All right, yes, we know all that. I just want to go through it to highlight it, so you can't say I didn't say it. Healthcare, that's not really what I want. I'm going to jump on to, all right, it's conclusion. So I'm going to jump on to this and go over some things. All right. Again, why this fight matters. 29 minutes, give a little more time. Why this fight matters between the Democrats and the Republicans, and how this is affecting us again. and what can we do and why we need to do it. Move this over here. I might not be able to move that. Let's move that. Each time Washington grinds to a halt, it's more than politics. It's a test. The 2025 shutdown shows how deeply Democrats and Republicans differ on the role of the government. It is astounding. I think 71 million, 75 million voted Democrat for Kamala, which is insane. Being that the policies that she stood for, the shiftiness back and forth, her and Biden. That's on you, America. But the other 81 million or higher million was that Trump got shows, thank God, that we are not totally insane, and that we rejected that lie. The race baiters on the Democrat side did not lie themselves into the White House the second time. Okay, role of the government, whom we should. All right, the Democrats and Republicans differ over the role of government, whom we should help, and how we can manage nearly the $38 trillion debt. All right, so we're gonna walk through this. Say what the Democrats want, how they contrast GOP, why the shutdown happened, and what those priorities mean for everyday Americans. Put this back to the first page. Ooh. All right, the immediate spark. Why the shutdown happened. At 12:01 a.m. on October 1st, 2025, the federal government entered a funding gap because Congress failed to pass new appropriation. Key fronts. Republicans pushed a funding bill that cut or rescinded certain programs. Democrats refused without protections for health subsidies and social programs. Again, these health subsidies for normal Americans, we need to look at it that Obamacare, those doodads we need to look at. But what they're not bringing out is the roughly 10 million illegal immigrants that are here that also receive medical treatment and funding. We got to do something about that. And the states got to, once the federal government cut them off with funding, then they have to step up and use the money that they do have wisely. So they taking from, say, California, New York, have these outlandish programs. Wisconsin, you don't have to be a citizen of the United States to get a driver's license in Wisconsin and California, those states, maybe even New York. So they do that, and the only thing you need to do, which the information came out yesterday, one of the hearings in Wisconsin, I believe it was, that if I go there with a driver's license that I got, even though I'm not a citizen, to vote, they are on the good faith measure that, no one's going to lie and vote. We know they do. And some will be paid to vote. Some will be transported there. So we do know without verification, illegal immigrants would and do vote. All right. Republicans pushed a funding bill that cut and rescinded those programs. All right. Democrats demanded that Affordable Care Act premium subsidies be extended and Medicare cuts reversed before consenting to a continuing resolution. All right, so they're shutting the government down until they get what they want. They don't have the numbers, but the Senate to override, they got to get 60 votes as a supermajority to clear the Senate, and they don't have the votes without the Democrats. But Democrats some are realizing this is not the right thing, and last count it was 5 senators that went over to the Republican side. We'll see how that stands. The standoff escalated over policy riders, health, social programs, and partisan bracing rather than compromise. The result: some 900,000 federal workers were furloughed, and another 700,000 forced to work without pay. That is ridiculous. Whew. Democrats' vision, what they say they want to fund and protect. To understand their stance, we look to the 2024 Democratic Party platform and related budget proposals. Healthcare and drug costs. They propose empowering Medicare to negotiate, like I said earlier, drug prices. I have no problem with that. A lot of Republicans do. We got to do something. Trump has jumped ahead, and he has negotiated, and he has set up some of the programs that the Democrats wanted, but they will not give him any credit. Trump derangement syndrome. All right. Proposal, or you got child care and home care. Proposals include subsidies, expansion of program relief for families and those caring for aging relatives. Like I said before, Democrats don't do math well. They operate off of feelings, not facts. It's the heart, not the brain, when it comes to Democrats. That's where I see it. Leave me a comment, a decent one, in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Am I wrong? Why am I wrong? Bring your receipts. All right, tax credits and direct support for households. They want to restore or expand the child tax credit, earned income and tax credit, support for lower income families, affordable housing and infrastructure, build and preserve housing units, invest in infrastructure and climate resilience. That climate change jump again. All right, here's a note for you. They want to preserve housing, use, and invest in infrastructure. The minute Trump helped deport it or let them self-deport 2 million illegal immigrants for the United States, guess what happened? Less traffic, meaning less use of the roads, less gasoline, housing for 2 million people open up. Schools with less pressure. When you have illegal immigrants bringing down the wage, the Democrats don't do math. You bring in people at the lower wage. They say, well, Americans don't want to do their job. Not at the price you're paying. But you eliminate the 10 to 21 million illegal immigrants, and you will see the wages go up. Oh, then we have to spend more on food. Okay. However, since 22 to 25, I think 2020 to 2022, the price in housing went up. How many came across the border? What was that artificial spike in the price of houses? And it's still there today. Less occupants will drop the housing prices and those who are on SNAP and welfare and different things that are able-bodied, once they get kicked off, hunger pains kick in. Able-bodied men will get out there and do some work, do the job. But you got to pay them more. You can't pay them nickels and dimes like you pay the illegal immigrants, which you work them like a slave and you pay them like a slave, and you claim that you care about them. Ridiculous. All right. Equity, civil rights, gender identity protection, support for equality act, protect non-discrimination for gender identity and sexual orientation. Okay. So there's that equity. It's not equal, it's equity. That means if you are a student, I'm going to take your A, your B, and give it to somebody else, and they come out with a C, and you come out with a B minus. I'm taking from the top performance to give to someone who's not even interested in doing it. It takes pain sometimes to get you to move, and that's what removing equity does. Sure, we want civil rights. Gender identity. Hello, new study came out. This fad of gender identity has dropped 50% after the pandemic, after the moving and this group think has gone down. It is amazing what has happened. Thank God. So we're correcting from the errors, and there was never any science about it. But what they did was try to scare parents. If you don't affirm your child, they're going to hurt themselves. They're going to self-delete themselves. So they got people afraid through lies. And, if Jimmy don't become Elissa, he's going to delete himself. It's better to have a girl than a dead boy, that sort of thing. They pushed the fear, and the fear was temporary. Now you got children who was mutilated, recovering, but there's too late for their bodies. These blockers and different things. You only go to puberty once. There's no recourse. There's no going back. It was criminal. It was harmful what they did to these children. All right. In sum, more social safety net. That's what they want. More fairness, they claim, in healthcare costs. More support for families and vulnerable populations. Now, it's been over 43 minutes. Sum this up a little bit. Republican, contrasting what Republicans want for us compared to what the Democrats. Republican priorities, they emphasize where Democrats favor expanding, they like it big, they like it bold, and it's your money, so they don't really care. Favor expanding and protecting so-called social supports. Republicans lean towards tax cuts and smaller government. All right. Emphasize on letting markets, private sector, and individual choice steer outcomes. Instead of top down, let the individual, let the state govern. Cuts to entitlement growth or rollback. Reducing growth in programs, imposing stricter eligibility or block grants. Opposition to what they see as mandates or price controls in health and energy sectors. I would have to work on that too, because again, you just can't take your hand off the wheel. You can't say, I'm going to let the pharmaceutical company charge this in America and then sell that same drug overseas at a much, much reduced price. Why not treat your people better than that? Okay? It's all about all about the Benjamins. Follow the Benjamins. All right, the Republicans cuts to entitlement growth or robot. All right, I said that. Opposition to mandate strong border enforcement and reduce immigration. Um, reduce illegal immigration. Joe Biden and Kamala opened the floodgates for 10 to 20 million illegal immigrants. Okay? Unsustainable policies. That's a burden. We're at $27.8 trillion. You cannot have a nanny state and open borders. You either have to have open borders and individual responsibility, or you have individual responsibility and closed borders. You have to close the borders for a nanny state. You can't let anybody in. All right. The GOP often frames federal spending as a reward for illegal entry. Deregulation, fossil fuel support, national security spending, use of fewer environmental constraints, stronger defense posture. A stronger defense posture. Yes, we got to be strong. We see what Russia is doing to Ukraine, meaning that the drones, are we prepared? I know we got a big ocean, but are we prepared for any type of action in South America or in other areas that could grow into a war? With the 10 to 20 million illegal, undocumented individuals, could you create an army of 100,000, 5,000? There was a lot of Chinese that came in. There was a lot of foreigners from different countries, undocumented, that crossed the border that we have no idea who they are, what they are capable of. They were military age men. That's another thing. Democrat Party cannot determine what a female is or a male is. Saying that a male could have a baby. That type of nonsense, thank God it did not get into the White House with Kamala Harris. Results from the Republican side is tight spending, fewer expansion of social programs, more emphasis on limiting government scope. All right, this last little subject here, I'll finish it up later tonight. I do generally 9 a.m., 6 p.m., and then another, excuse me, I do a 9 a.m., yes, 9 a.m., 6 p.m., and 9 p.m. podcasts on these issues. So I try to do them 7 days a week. So don't always make it, but I put it out there and put it in a video, and you can tell me, do you like it or not? All right, debt, deficits, and the $37 trillion challenge. The debt is not just a number. The U.S. federal debt stands near $38 trillion. Democrats' approach to balancing the book. They propose targeted revenue increases, high taxes, of course, more money on corporations and top earners, closing loopholes, stronger IRS enforcement. The difference between Trump and the Biden-Harris administration is stark. Trump hired ICE agents. Biden and Harris was going to hire armed IRS agents. Are you out of your mind? Trump is keeping out the enemy, out the influence of the world, protecting us at the border and removing those that are already in, while Biden was coming after you. People are unbelievable. All right. They claim savings from negotiation, drug pricing, and waste reduction rather than gutting core programs. I agree. Um, Now that, and Trump has done that, drug pricing, instead of controlling and getting the government into um, the drug business. And that goes also, I like Trump with, if you come to the United States government, whoever you are, Intel or whoever you are, and you say, we need to borrow some money because you spend, Trump said, you will give the United States government a portion of your company. That's not socialism. That's investment. They don't control it. They have an investment that you must pay back. We are giving money to, we are giving cash to pharmacists and drug companies and getting nothing back as a nation. He's a businessman. He don't give you nothing. So I like his programs better than the Democrats and the Republicans. They promise often, their promises often include protecting Social Security and Medicare from benefit cuts. Criticism. Huh. Nonpartisan analysis warned that their expanding proposals, if all passed, could add 1.5 trillion over the next decade. That's the Democrats. All right, so looking at it this way, criticism of the Democrats, nonpartisan analysis, they're not Democrats or Republicans, they probably be independent, warned that the Democrats' expanding proposal, if all passed, could add another $1.5 trillion over it. So that's where the $1.5 trillion you have been hearing about on the news is coming from, the $1.5 trillion. The path to revenue is politically contested. Raising rates, raising taxes on the wealthy, and enforcement is always a battleground. Okay. Interest on debt always consumes a major budget share. New borrowing limits flexibility. We got $37.8 trillion. The interest is killing us. We got to borrow to pay for the interest. The interest is more than we pay on the defense of the United States. We got to do something. That's the Democrats' balancing act, raise selective revenue, trim waste, supposedly, protect safety nets, supposedly, but with political friction at every turn. All right, so I'll finish this out later on tonight. Good Lord's will. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Leave a comment, leave a like. Please subscribe. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Until then, keep the fire burning. God bless. Go ahead, shut a couple of these down. And I thank you for dropping